If I were sitting with you in your car, in your room, on your run, wherever you are right now, and asked you, what's your avoidance strategy? Would you know what it is? We all use avoidance strategies. They're usually unconscious, right? Because if we're conscious of it, we wouldn't be avoiding. But we use avoidance strategies and they keep us stuck. So an avoidance strategy might show up as perfectionism. It might show up as a lot of TV watching. It might show up as substance use or an addiction to pornography. It shows up in multiple ways. Sometimes it's even just a really simple, I spend a lot of time on social media and it's not moving the needle forward. That's what we're going to talk about today, is avoidance strategies and this idea that what you resist persists. First, if it's your first time here, I'm Dr. Amanda Barrientos, the founder of NFA Coaching and the host of the Max Potential Habits podcast. This is your place to come each and every week for tips, tools, and inspirational interviews to help you optimize your habits so you can up-level your life and your business and thrive and feel that you are doing what's meaningful and awesome to you. That's my version of success. So, real quick, if you are loving this podcast, pretty please do me a favor, take 5 minutes and write a written review on iTunes. Send me a screenshot and I'll enter you into the raffle for the top 5 books that are my favorites that have helped me shift the fastest. We're coming up on the 100th episode. I'm going to send those out to the raffle winner. If you take your screenshot and send it to mphraffle@nfacoaching.com, that link's in the show notes, then you will be entered. Okay, let's talk about avoidance strategies. So that saying, what you resist persists and what you focus on expands, right? So if you have a conscious focus in a direction, that can expand, right? If you're grateful, it expands. If you're focusing on your business success and taking action in that direction, it expands. If you say you want to build your business to the 6-figure level or the 7-figure level and you focus on it and it expands, it's because you're in alignment and you don't have any avoidance going on in the underneath the subconscious layers. So remember, 95% of us is run by our subconscious belief system. So if you have competing commitments where you say you want one thing, but you're getting another, it's because your unconscious is out of alignment with your conscious. That's resistance and avoidance. The way that you can see this is in symptoms. The symptoms will show up, avoidance symptoms, right? And what I'm thinking about is we want to get conscious of what's our avoidance strategies, because until you're conscious, you can't shift. And remember, to become a master of yourself, you've got to look to your thoughts, your decisions, and your actions. And your feelings are an indicator of those. And your actions are an indicator of those. So if you're avoiding, you're going to be doing something in the procrastination realm, and this gives you a clue that you have some sort of unconscious strategy. So we're thinking of this as an avoidance strategy. So when I ask you, what's your avoidance strategy, you're going to start to get clear on what that is. So things like social media, right? So you might say, I really want to build my business to the 6-figure level, but you notice that when you sit down to build your website or make the follow-up calls, you turn to social media. And we're not talking productive social media. We're talking you spend hours and hours on Facebook just goofing around, looking at what other people are doing, maybe negatively comparing yourself to other people, and then you aren't moving the needle forward. That's an avoidance strategy. What if it's TV for you? You, especially right now as I'm recording this, obviously it's quarantine time still in most places. Most, not all, but most. And you could be binge watching hours and hours of Netflix instead of doing actions and taking steps in the direction of your dreams, right? Which you're like, say you want to write a book and you could be writing a chapter every day. You could be writing 500 words a day, but instead you're binge watching the new latest, greatest Netflix. Or let's say it's substance use. This is a big one for people. When we're avoiding what we feel, we're avoiding our fears, we're avoiding our self-doubts, some people will turn to substances. It could be pot, it could be alcohol, it could be pills, all different kinds of ways that people use substances and justify it as like, I'm just having some fun. But what if it's an avoidance strategy? You've got to get clear if that's how you are doing that activity. What are you avoiding, right? You're not listening to the Max Potential Habits podcast or watching this on YouTube unless you are someone who wants to take it to the next level. If you're that person, you got to get really clear on how you show up. You've got to get connected with yourself. You've got to start to learn to tap into your personal power, which means you're in alignment, which means you're not stuck in those avoidance strategies. You do them because you're human, but you notice them quickly and you pivot fast, right? So think about this as the law of attraction. When you want to attract what you want to attract, the reason it works is because you're in alignment. You're not suffering from avoidance strategies, unconscious avoidance strategies. You're not suffering from competing commitments. Instead, what you say you want is in alignment with the action you take, which is in alignment with the beliefs you have about yourself and the thoughts you have about yourself and the world around you. So beliefs are really just decisions, right? So, and we know this because your decisions are a concrete version of what you believe. Because if I make a decision in a direction to support my business and I'm taking action, then you know that I'm someone who believes in myself, that I'm someone who believes I can move the needle forward, I'm someone who believes I can make an impact in the world through my business. If I say I want that, but that's not what I do, which is a decision to have an indecision basically. Inaction is the same as indecision, but indecision is a decision not to act. So if you see that going on in yourself, then you know, somewhere I'm using an avoidance strategy. Somewhere I have a competing commitment. So what I want you to do is these 3 action steps to help you shift out of the avoidance strategy, to help you shift into powerful action, to help you get out of procrastination and take action in the direction of your dreams. We get this one life that we know of, right? What impact do you want to make? What income do you want to have? What lifestyle do you want to create? That's you becoming a master of yourself, a master of your mindset. And remember, I have an awesome free course. Go to ownyourinnerboss.com. Watch my free course. It'll lead you into my boot camp, which is a 30-day boot camp. But start with the free course, ownyourinnerboss.com. Go there, take it. This is going to give you brain tricks just like I'm giving you here. Okay, so action steps. Now, the first one, mindfulness. A person who is a master of their mindset practices mindfulness. They step into the power of noticing and they get curious about what they're doing. They don't beat themselves up. They don't notice it and then go like, oh, see, I'm such a bad person. Oh, crap, I'll never get there. That's your inner critic talking, and you want to learn to become friends with your inner critic, understand it, and shift in a new direction. That's all in Own Your Inner Boss, learning about how to go from inner critic to inner boss. But it starts with mindfulness. It starts with you going, I want something different. I want to start to be the greatest observer of myself. I want to master self-improvement. I want to step in the direction of my dreams. And the first step is mindfulness. And it's you asking yourself, what are my avoidance strategies? Right? Is it TV? Is it substance use? Is it focusing on problems? Is it busy work that's not moving the needle forward? Is it perfectionism and thinking that every detail needs to be perfect? What is it for you? It's going to be unique to you, but get mindful, get curious. Start to become a detective of yourself in a loving, kind way where you go, okay, to be the master of myself, I've got to be mindful, which means I got to start noticing what I do when I'm procrastinating and when I'm out of alignment, and how can I get into alignment, right? So mindfulness is step number 1. Number 2, write down your trigger list. And when I think of the trigger list, I'm thinking, what are your top avoidance strategies and what triggered you into the avoidance strategy, right? Was it fear? Was it that you were having thoughts about, oh, I can't succeed as a business owner, which means, ooh, I'm gonna look at some social media to avoid the feeling of fear, and then that's gonna take me out of moving the needle forward. So you've got to get mindful, and then you've got to write down your list. What triggers you into the avoidance? This is you getting to the root so you can see some of those unconscious drivers, bring them conscious, and shift and pivot in a new direction. Number 3, decide to do something different. Action develops confidence. Action signals to your brain that you are who you say you want to be, which builds the confidence loop. So decide to do something different. I want you to immediately create that pattern interrupt. So once you get mindful and you see what your trigger is, so you're mindful, you're like, okay, my trigger is, I get on social media and I look at too much, it's not really moving the needle forward. It's not business related. Okay, so your trigger is that maybe it's that when you sat down to do it, you were like, oh God, I'm not going to be good at doing this. So you went to Facebook instead. Okay, so then you go, okay, my trigger is that I don't think I'm good enough. Well, take some action. Take one step now, right now, right? And that's you deciding to do something different. Then see how you feel and keep doing that over and over, and you're going to develop the new habit. Okay, so mindfulness, trigger list, decide to do something different. I'd love to hear from you. Have an incredible week. High fives. You rock.